This Downtown Sports Rant is being brought to you ad-free by Digital Market Battles, the marketing agency that will help fill your business's pipeline with high-value leads. They will meet your conversion goals no matter what. Just head on over to digitalmarketbattles.com. Get your discovery call done today, now including AI. Jonathan Perriente, the Beast of the East, here with you. And ladies and gentlemen, we're halfway through the conference semifinals. The Thunder have clinched and move on to the conference finals next round. They swept the Lakers in 4 games. The Knicks blew the Sixers away in 4 games, winning 144 to 114. So both these teams are playing at an extremely high level right now. And talked about the Thunder. It shouldn't surprise you. Defending champions and just the extra chip on their shoulder they've played with this year has really been nothing short of amazing. You could see how well-rounded this team is. You see how deep this team is. You see the depth that they have. And you see how different scorers can contribute on different games. So it's never only just SGA, even though, yeah, SGA did have to really lead the way last night because of how close it was and how close down to the wire it went. Understandably so, as the Thunder won 115 to 110, 35 points overall for SGA. And then you add 28 from AJ Mitchell. It just shows you how many different ways the Thunder can win games and how they can just put a game out of reach eventually. Just the ability for them to go on a run at any time and the trust they have in their different players where anybody different could step up. So no surprise, the Thunder move on to the conference finals, and they will await the winner of Spurs Timberwolves, which is tied at 2 apiece. That series is going to go 6 games. Victor Wembanyama had the ejection in game 4. Now, fortunately for him and fortunately for the Spurs, no further discipline. So he will not be suspended any games. I think that's fine. I'm glad the league at least looked into those things. I mean, you don't want to be ending a team season at this juncture for a first-time offense. If this was a common occurrence, then this would have been a different story. Then the league would have to handle this differently. That's fine. But yes, you keep Wemby, Spurs still have a shot at this, as does Minnesota. This could go either way. It's been a very close series for the most part. You really take away game 2, everything in this series has been close. Maybe winning by about 5 to 7 points a game. Anthony Edwards really has showed up in this series, hit some huge points. And over 30 the other night was very, very key for Minnesota to tie the series up. So now a pivotal game 5 awaits this evening if you're the Timberwolves, and who will take it home, really for me, will determine this entire series. On the other side, the Eastern Conference. Well, the Knicks took care of their business. And it's really amazing. From how they began, they had those 2 losses to Atlanta round 1. And ever since that series, ever since that 3rd game of the series, the Knicks have played a completely different level of basketball. They've been winning games by an astonishing margin, at times even by 30 plus points, which is something that hasn't been done in NBA history since, in this case, the Lakers were the last team to do what the Knicks have done over the last 2 games that they had against the Sixers. For the Knicks, game 4, the Knicks took a lead early, and they kept the lead early. Knicks went up 19, and if you were a Philly fan, you already felt the game was over. And this is the element the Knicks didn't have last year. They didn't have that killer instinct. I think they were missing that last year. They didn't have the ability at times to step on a team's throat and don't let your foot up. These playoffs, the Knicks have learned how to keep their foot on the gas and don't let up even for a second. And that could be very beneficial. Now, this Knicks team has been together for a few years now, and you've seen that finally Karl Anthony Towns and what he could actually do has really been unlocked thanks to Mike Brown. You don't need always Cat to go 30 points. You want the ball to move, which Cat has been doing now. Yes, Brunson will still be one of your top scorers. That doesn't change. I know a few, about a week and a half or so back, everybody was looking at the Knicks and go, why is Brunson doing everything himself? Why is Towns doing nothing? The Hawks, you should go through Towns. And yeah, look, reasonable argument. But at the end of the day, when you needed the Knicks to show up, when you needed the Knicks to play their best games, and they needed to step up, they did. And not only has Towns woken up, Bridges has woken up. That was another X factor that the Knicks needed to have going for them was Mikal Bridges. And he has responded, and he's been playing some of his, I think, best basketball of the year during these playoffs after he really was on and off throughout the regular season. Now, the Knicks did, during this little stretch, OG Anunoby got hurt. Okay. But what works for the Knicks now was winning the series early and getting sufficient rest, which will give OG time to heal up. And of course, if you're the Knicks, you're going to need OG. You're going to need him into the next round, depending who you face in that. And as for their opponent, the Cavs and the Pistons are going to play at least 6 games. So that's going to be more advantage to the Knicks. They have to play a few extra games. They're going to be coming in a little bit more beat up than the Knicks are. So you have to look at it like this. If you're the Knicks, who do you really want in the next round? Who would be the more preferable matchup? I could look at this in 2 sides here. The Pistons were a team that owned the Knicks all regular season. I know the Knicks beat them last year in the conference quarterfinals. I know the Knicks beat them last year. The Pistons really have the reliance of only having Cade Cunningham and really not anybody else consistent around him. Yeah, maybe Tobias Harris, but the Pistons don't really have a second scoring option. So if you're the Knicks, you could cover one guy, and if you take him out of the game, the rest of the team goes by the wayside in a sense. If it's Cleveland, the Knicks are going to have a little tougher go, I think, at it. Cleveland has a lot more depth. Cleveland has a lot more different options that they can go to, and they could match up a little better with the Knicks as far as Mitch and Cat are concerned. I just look at it because the Cavaliers have a lot more talent, and it's there. You saw what Donovan Mitchell did last night, 43 points. James Harden hit some big shots, especially in game 3. Okay. Cavs have not lost at home in these playoffs yet. So you're going to have to cut. If you're facing the Cavs, you're dealing with Mitchell, you're dealing with Harden, you're dealing with Mobley, and then you still even have the rest of the bench. I mean, the Cavs bench is pretty deep too. Strus off the bench, Sam Merrill off the bench, Schroeder. It's a very deep group that the Cavs have. I know the Knicks know this. The Knicks took the series. They played 3 games against the Cavs regular season. Knicks came out of that winning 2 out of 3, which was good, was solid. Wasn't an easy series, obviously, because the Cavaliers and how they're built. So it's really, for me, a pick your poison if you're the Knicks, who they face in the conference finals. It's great to see the Knicks are back there for the 2nd straight year. There was a period of time the Knicks had never even gotten this far consistently. Everybody was concerned, Mike Brown, what was he going to be doing differently that Tom Thibodeau could not do? Well, Mike Brown got you to the conference finals just as Thibodeau did last year. The big difference is Mike Brown's been utilizing the bench that he has. And with the way the Knicks have been blowing opponents out lately, the Knicks' main scorers have consistently been able to get a quarter to rest up in the 4th quarter and let the bench finish out the game. So you're keeping your starters fresh. You're keeping them still playing with a little more energy, and that's important. Last year, the Knicks had a lot of injuries last year. The starters had to play more minutes than they really maybe should have played, and eventually it reared its head in the conference finals last year. These final 8 wins the Knicks are going to need to put together are going to be the hardest of their season. This is where the true playoffs begin. For Cleveland, credit them. Big win, forcing a game 6, at least in this series. Both sides have defended their home court twice each. Now the key is who can win that road game of the final 3 games of this series. We're going to find that out tomorrow night. Usually, I always say it, the winner of game 5, the pivotal game 5 winner, more than likely will be the one that could go on to win the whole series. The series goes back to Detroit. And if you're the Pistons, they need it. They need it more than I think Cleveland does, even though Cleveland might say the same. So definitely the true test awaits both the Knicks and the Thunder now, who have successfully made it to round 3. And who they draw will be interesting. I already mentioned if the Knicks draw the Cavs or if the Pistons come in. If you're the Thunder, I know the Thunder have been dominant, and everybody will say this, and they're right to say it. But if you're the Thunder and you get, let's say, Minnesota next round, some people might go, Thunder will blow them away easily. Not so. The Timberwolves are very battle-tested of a team. They can hang with the big boys. They've shown it all year. They're a gritty team. They're a not-give-up type team. They're going to force you to play into their hand. And they're not afraid to get physical either. Just ask Jaden McDaniels. So, we thought when Minnesota lost DiVincenzo, that was going to be it for them. Then Anthony Edwards got injured, but the last few games, Anthony Edwards seems to have bounced back, and that's huge. Probably maybe at least has he fully recovered from that leg injury he had a few games back. It certainly looks like it. I think now you're seeing Ant-Man really at his best, which is big if you're Minnesota. Now, overall, if it's Minnesota, OKC, can the Timberwolves beat them? It's a long shot. Even with Anthony Edwards, even with Julius Randle, I don't think it'll be enough. Will they give OKC a fight? I think they certainly will, considering OKC, through the first 2 rounds, they've had it pretty easy. Blew the Suns away. They blew the Lakers away, who had no Luka. And you'll be getting a Minnesota team that's pretty much almost at full power minus Dante DiVincenzo. But anything could happen out of that. If San Antonio wins, then we're talking a different series. The only other team that we saw throughout the regular season that even had the ability to hang with the Thunder and beat them was the Spurs. That's in the regular season. I know everybody will talk about, hey, Spurs won 3 out of 4, and that is correct. But OKC did win that last game in pretty blowout fashion. But the Spurs, I think, have enough of depth that they could match the Thunder, without a doubt. And of course, Wembanyama, being the big man he is, and his ability to grab those extra rebounds and make those blocked shots, other teams don't have a guy that's 7'6" on their team. So if the Spurs make it, the Thunder are going to have a much tougher go at getting through to the next round. I think everybody's been kind of talking about it. That's kind of been the story here. So really, whatever happens between Spurs Timberwolves could very directly determine, do the Thunder even go to the finals or no? I could say the same for the Knicks too. If they get the Pistons or if they get Cleveland. For the Knicks, though, neither of them is going to be a gimme. I know the Knicks have played well. I'm not doubting how well they've played. The talent's there. I've watched it. The Knicks are playing on a different level. I get that. But now they have a long layoff. The Thunder had a long layoff before they played their last series. It didn't really affect them too much. Maybe they were a little slow in game 1, which is normal. Had a layoff for over a week. The Knicks are going to be off for at least over a week. For the Knicks cause, though, it's a good cause because they need OG Anunoby to be back healthy. And this time off will give him enough time to rest up. At the same time, You hope the Knicks and the rest of their offense can continue to gel the way they have with Brunson, Towns, Bridges, and company leading the way. And we've seen different Knicks stepping up since OG's injury, which has been very huge as well. So game three, Landry Shamet stepped up. Hadn't heard much of him throughout the season and through these playoffs, but he came up big off the bench, contributed for 15 points in game three. And then game four, after he was basically benched early, Deuce McBride stepped up in game four and had over 20 points. And he put the game out of hand single-handedly pretty early, starting from the first quarter. So when you look at it like this, and I'll wrap it up on this note. The depth the Knicks and the Thunder have definitely make it a positively great potential finals matchup if it does come down to that. But don't discredit the other teams that the Knicks will have to see in the conference finals as for the Thunder. So, fasten your seatbelts, guys. We're down to the final best of three of the remaining semifinals for the Spurs and Timberwolves and for the Pistons and Cavs. Whoever comes out of this faces the Knicks and the Thunder in the conference finals and could set the stage for what I think will be a very amazing and maybe a classic NBA final. But we're all going to find that out soon. Game 5 of Spurs Timberwolves is tonight. And whatever happens out of that could very well determine the entire direction of where the conference finals are going to be heading. The Mouth of the South, John Schiavone, will join me for our next episode. We will dive more into the NBA playoffs. We will give our take on the Knicks Thunder, and we will give our dive into for the conference finals as well. The NBA draft lottery is already passed. Congratulations to the team that will get the number 1 pick. That's the Washington Wizards. You know, going to be a scary team if the Wizards are able to draft the right pieces, and they already have some depth here with Anthony Davis and Trae Young, and they've had previous top draft picks over the years because the Wizards have just been terrible. Congrats to the Bulls getting the number 4 pick, the Grizzlies going number 3, and the Jazz going number 2. Definitely surprised Indiana didn't have a great year. Everybody thought maybe Indiana was going to be a top pick in this one. They will not be, which is very much a shock to me, but maybe at the same time I'm not. I don't know. I'm never one to trust the lottery too much. I'm just never one to trust the lottery where it goes. I mean, after all, after Nico Harrison got let go, you thought the Mavericks were going to self-destruct, and then blink before your eyes, Mavericks got the number 1 pick in the lottery last year and got Cooper Flag. Crazy how that works out, doesn't it? But anyway, that's going to wrap up this little rant edition of Downtown Sports. You can listen to Downtown Sports. We are on 24 different platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Spotify for creators. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on CastBox, Bullhorn, Podbay, Listen Notes, Podcast Addict, Verbal, Caster.fm, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, Podvine, Podyssey, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, TuneIn, and on YouTube. Episodes, rants, digital, market battle specials every week. We are Downtown Sports, and we are where sports come home. Jonathan Perriente, Beast of the East, saying goodbye and see you later.